Today in history, in 1741, astronomer Anders Celsius introduces, and I hope you can guess this, the centigrade temperature scale, which America still hasn't discovered.
No, we still measure in eagles per freedom, baby. Welcome to What the Heck History, where we discuss the holliest and jolliest things that make us say, well, what the heck history. I've been on the Nice Links 27 years running, and I am your holiday helper, Zachary, and if you couldn't tell, I'm trying not to swear this episode, because there are eyes everywhere. He knows when you are sleeping.
No,
He
please.
knows when you're awake.
I'm really scared.
He knows if you've been bad or good.
This is like 1984.
For goodness sakes.
Yeah, Zach just starts crying a little bit after that one. My name's Meghan, and I'll be your giant Icelandic cat described as monstrous, and I will be eating anyone who does not wear their clothes that they got for Christmas.
And I'm Matt. Today I learned the true meaning of Christmas. I also learned that the first ever meeting of the KKK was on Christmas, so that's nice.
I know.
The true meaning of Christmas is togetherness, which is something that the KKK taught us. Not the racism.
I'm gonna fucking move on quick from that one.
No, I'm sorry.
They gather.
I can't allow you to.
Together.
Yeah, they gathered together on Christmas.
They gather together on
Now,
Christmas.
here's the
specifically
part
on
that we
Christmas.
condemn as a podcast. They did also do terrible things to black people.
Yeah.
This is, if you can't tell because of Zach's horror intro, this is the Christmas episode of...
We're off to a rocky start when it comes to Christmas, boys.
I literally didn't even say anything bad.
No, you didn't. You said that you were a giant cat that was going to eat people for not wearing clothes, which, like, makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a real cat.
You're a giant cat. I
It's
got
an Icelandic thing. You wouldn't get it.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's an Icelandic thing.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry for not knowing
Most other
Icelandic
people...
things.
But jokes and cats aside.
Jokes and cats and the Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah,
aside.
No.
definitely putting the KKK all the way to the side.
Or in 6-foot holes.
That would be preferable, but we can't always get what we want, and some high-up political figures would be, well, that might not always be a bad thing.
Listen, you can't always get what you want.
But if you try sometimes, you might find you
Yeah.
can kill a few Ku Klux Klan members. That was a tongue twister.
Yeah, that didn't scan right.
All right, guys. Some behind-the-scenes info for you, but we haven't recorded a podcast in like 5 years because we've had so much of a backlog. So we've reset our strikes, which were numerous, to 0. We did play a holiday game of rock, paper, scissors, which was difficult because we were all wearing those little things that make our hands look like hooves. So it was hard for us to tell. But the order for tonight is Meghan, followed by Zach, followed by me. I promise not to mention the KKK for the rest of the podcast, starting right now. So Meghan, whenever you're ready, you can tell your story if you'd like, or if we want to sit here and banter for a little bit longer.
No. I'm ready. We need to get into this because my story is large and in charge. And would you like to know the name?
I would absolutely love to know the name.
Knock, knock. It's Dickens, bitch.
That is the best name I have ever heard.
That might be the fucking episode name right there.
Knock, knock. It's Dickens, bitch.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll see. So I'm going to jump into it. I think that based on most of the stories that we do on here, we three wise men can agree that history is never what we think it's going to be, right?
No, never.
It's never what we think it's going to be. And I find this especially true with traditions surrounding holidays, because the church steals a lot of pagan ideas. There's the general passage of time, and humans literally can't remember anything we've done past 50 years ago.
We are
have
goldfish, yes.
We're like temporal goldfish,
club,
which
club.
is terrible.
We are
Yeah,
goldfish with opposable thumbs and nuclear weapons.
And that makes us dangerous.
I just like had a horrible vision of
Goldfish with
thumb
nukes?
fish. No, like fish with thumbs.
Oh, see, no, I'm playing this scene in my head where it's just like, you just see two goldfish and like... But the subtitles
They're-
below are like, no, you can't launch them. I'm gonna do what I must for the good of all fish kind.
I'm gonna do what I must for the good of this bull.
For
yeah,
the
so
good of
we
the
are the
fish bowl?
goldfish.
Is that what you just said?
Yeah, for the good of the bull.
Love that so much.
So we can't remember anything. And because we can't remember anything, we end up with some weird things, and we just do them because we've always done them. Now, I could have put literally anything having to do with Christmas in a hat, and we could have had the same story here. But I decided to land on the tradition of caroling.
Ooh.
Because of Christmas songs and how they've been stuck in my head for the
Christmas
past 14 days.
is here again.
Yeah, you got it. You know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So, we are going to pop the bubble right now. This tradition of caroling did not start in ye old Victorian times. It's about as Dickensian as the concept of ghosts, and that's to say that Charles Dickens also did not invent ghosts. Surprising, I know. So we're going to take a trip in the time machine, the Ford Tacoma, if you will, and go back to the earliest carols, which were, in fact, say it with me now, pagan. They were all pagan.
Oh, okay. I was
All
like,
pagan
I would
all the
say it.
time.
I would say it with her if I knew where this sentence was about to go, but
They're all pagan. They all, just anything it probably had its roots in paganism.
Christians need to get their hands
So-
out of Zach's God's pockets.
Full
I know.
show.
They're ruffling around in there, being like, "What do you got?
What do you got? What new tradition can we
wait.
steal today?
Yeah, they're just like, give me your songs. So they were adopted, or at least the melodies were, by the Catholic Church when they were trying to convert these pesky old god worshippers, Zach. Of course, the lyrics were changed. We dropped the fun aspects.
Yeah.
And we added more Jesus for a little bit of razzle dazzle. But
Some
the
would argue
evidence
that's
of these
less fun.
Listen, I don't speak for the church. I don't speak for the church about what they find fun. Apparently, they find Jesus really fun. He may have been a cool dude. I don't know.
He did turn water into wine, so he's okay.
Which
is pretty
He's
dope.
okay in my book.
Jesus was lit, so that's confirmed.
Oh man, I just got like the worst fucking mental image of a youth pastor standing in front of a group of congregants being like, "Remember, kids, Jesus was lit, no cap," and just having like a group collectively roll their eyes hard enough to go back in time.
I was really hoping that they would like cheer. They would be like, "Oh,
Some would, yeah.
Jesus!"
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the lamer kids.
The lamer
would.
kids, the ones that don't know what
Yeah.
any of these things mean.
Turning water into wine back in the day is the equivalent of turning water into like fruit punch.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's like, all right, I just made this drinkable. You're welcome. Collar is not a thing
Yeah,
now.
he literally
Yeah, right?
turned it into, high C.
Damn, Jesus
Yeah,
made the
he's-
water good to drink.
Wow, Jesus is like a water purification plant, whatever that is.
I now
Whatever that
worship the Brita
Hey,
god.
we should let you should.
So they added more razzle dazzle with the Jesus, but evidence of carols appear as early as like
Early,
the 4th
huh?
century. Early. I can't.
Now we
speak.
both got one. I
Yeah,
got
we
you
did
back
get
for
one.
giving me shit.
That's true. You did. You got me. But they do appear as early as the 4th century AD. And as you may have guessed, these replacements weren't very popular considering they were in Latin.
Oh, dang. I thought it was because they mentioned
Yeah.
Jesus.
They also mentioned Jesus, but mostly it was in Latin, and it was just like church sermons with like a little bit of music.
In vino
You know?
veritas.
Yeah.
It's the only Latin I need to know, baby. Jesus would concur because it's all about wine.
I bet Jesus couldn't even speak Latin, to be honest.
I think that's exclusively what he spoke.
I bet he did.
No, he
Bet
didn't.
you
He
Jesus
definitely
could
didn't.
absolutely house a bottle of wine. Like,
He,
funnel that
okay,
shit.
guy, he made water into wine. He could house wine like it was nobody's business.
I know,
I
but
know,
like,
dude.
Jesus was a
Christ
frat, bro.
Jesus Christ party god is my new ideal image. And at the same time, I'm also sitting there like, what about at Easter? What if Jesus didn't really rise and they were just weekend at Birdieing the dudes for like a month straight?
Yeah.
God. So
You gotta continue.
now we're gonna move to the Middle Ages.
Yes, please.
Here we are. We're in the Middle Ages, and caroling evolved into something called wassailing,
Wassailing.
which is an interesting wassailing.
Like
Yeah.
sailing.
Like, there's two S's in there.
Oh.
So was sailing or was sailing. I'm really not sure. Wassailing.
It's
What about-
wassailing.
I was gonna say it's fucking
Wassailing.
Waluigi going back in time. Wassailing.
Wassailing.
Yeah. I honestly dreaded saying this word because I was like, I have no idea how to pronounce it, so I'm just gonna
Fucking
full
wing
send
it. Just
Yeah,
send it.
I was gonna wing it. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm butchering how it's pronounced, but Steve is our pronunciation man, and I am out here fighting for my fucking life when it comes to the English language. Anyway, so wassail, maybe?
Maybe it's a
Zach
wassault.
comes wassault.
We've
It's
been
a wassault to my
wassaulted.
ears. Yeah. Zach, this actually comes from Old Norse.
Everything so
And-
far has.
That is
Yeah,
true.
everything. Yeah, true. So it comes from an Old Norse phrase called veshail,
Okay.
which sort of translates to be well. So the idea of this tradition is groups of peasants would show up to like a feudal lord's house and sing and sort of dance a little bit, and then the lord would give them the spice drink, which is the ancestor to eggnog, and maybe like a plate of food during like the really cold months.
Okay.
So, yeah, and they would sing like songs about good tidings and like we wish you good health in the new year and things like that.
Okay.
I can't tell if like any of the carols or songs at this point was actually good, or if the feudal lord was just like, Jesus Christ, these peasants do not have the voices of angels.
I
and
will pay
need them
you
off
in a
my
meal to get off my doorstep.
Yeah, like I need to.
If I give you this
Shove
bread,
your
will you
mouthful
shut the
of
fuck
food.
up?
Two things.
Yeah, will you go home?
Yes.
As far as I can
Yeah.
tell, it's pronounced wassaling.
Wasalin.
Wasalung.
Okay.
And two, it's fucking We Wish You a Merry Christmas. That's the now commercialized, version of it. Give us some
Yeah.
figgy pudding, bring it right here. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. It's a fucking threat. Like,
Yeah.
It actually does turn into a threat later, but we will get there because like
Yes.
I originally when I was looking up the Carol story, I was just like, man, give us some figgy pudding sounds like a threat. Like where did this come from? And so that's how I'm in the rabbit hole of like the caroling, right? I was just like, okay, we start at pagan times, the church takes the carols, they get passed on to peasants. And then we get to the 13th century, and this is sort of how carols end up getting tied into Christmas, because so far they're just like winter songs, right?
Yeah.
They just show up during the cold months. They're not exactly tied to the tradition of Christmas.
yeah,
So,
the peasants go,
13th
it's cold
century-
and we're hungry, so why don't we go bother the rich dude to fucking feed us or we riot?
Yeah, it's more about we're gonna riot because it's cold and less about Jesus is here.
Yeah.
You know?
It's more about the winter madness than baby be born.
Yeah, exactly. But in the 13th century, my man Francis of Assisi shows up.
Oh man.
Yeah, he just shows up and he's like, "Man, church music is like pretty somber, guys. Can we make this better?
Can we spice this up a little?
And yeah, can we spice this up a little?" So he's actually the one who turns Christmas into a celebration. He's like, "We need parades, we need songs, we also need nativity scenes for some reason. That'll get the people going.
I need ceramic babies. Lots of them.
I need many ceramic babies, and I will not take no for
Give
an
me
answer.
every
Thank you."
ceramic baby you have.
Yeah. So he was like, "I'm going to drum up some excitement about the Babu Jesus being born."
The babu.
The Babu Jesus, Jesus, being born here and now. Everyone get jazzed. And while he was making these changes, he did turn his attention to the songs and change them so that they were sung in the common tongue of, you know, the areas that the songs got like transported to. So if you spoke Italian, these songs were now going to be Italian. If you spoke English, they were in English now instead of just being in Latin. So people could really get behind them and actually understand what the lyrics were. Unsurprisingly, he did change the lyrics because while they were taken from the pagan songs, and then the church was like, "Why don't we make them into sermons?" Francis took the carols from like tavern tunes and he was like, "Man, these songs are really about ass and tits. What if we made them not about that?"
Damn you, Francis.
I know, Francis was just like, "We'll take the ass and tits out and we'll put like a little bit more
Why
God."
couldn't I have had a good old-fashioned Christmas wop?
Because Francis said no. I'm sorry. So, unsurprisingly, the church wasn't thrilled because they never are. There's no pleasing them. There's no
so
pleasing
accurate.
the papacy. It's so accurate. The new Christmas songs were popular, but the church wasn't happy because they weren't just being kept within church walls. Like, they were just being sung and changed outside of what the church could control. That being said, the evolution of caroling didn't really stop here. They added a little bit of a dance component.
Oh, fuck yeah. Break dancing with my caroling? Absolutely. Throw some cardboard down on those cold Victorian streets. I want to see someone bust a fucking move.
Yeah, dude, I want to see Francis in it, like, hike up the rope and just, like, start breaking it down, dude.
I need Francis to just all of a sudden fucking do a headstand into a full spin.
Yeah, unfortunately, the dancing didn't really last long.
Okay.
Yeah, we kind of got rid of that pretty quickly because it came from the French.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to make a
Yeah.
joke about Christmas flossing, but I think the French think's better.
Yeah, no, it came from the French, and people were like, "We don't want to dance anymore if that's what the French like." We hate dancing.
Wait,
now.
who
But they
originated
did-
this? The French? No, thanks. Not for me.
No.
Yeah, they were like, please, we will refrain from this. However, we did keep their word, which was carol, for these types of songs. So they're songs that have like a refrain with stanzas in between. So, you know, a normal fucking song.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they also became like a pretty popular form of artistic expression during the reign of Henry VIII. He actually tried his hand at composing them.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. One of his songs was called Green Groweth the Holly, which wasn't really a banger, but he tried.
He tried.
Yeah.
Between
No
his
one really-
vigilantism and his murdering of his wives, he had to try something else.
But he was also like, what I didn't realize was that he also wrote poetry that I guess is pretty good, and we still study it today, but his carols were not good. His carols decidedly not great. So then in the 16th century, and if you've been doing the math, is a while after carols show up, we finally started writing them down. We were like, we should write these songs.
This shit's fire. We
And-
should start writing it down.
This is the first
Yeah, the
instance of geniuslyrics.com.
.com. Yeah, and the propagator of the website was a guy named, are you ready for this name?
Yeah.
Yep.
Theodorcus Petrarutha.
Love that. Love that
Dude,
so much.
fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's his government name.
No, not just his government name, but it was given to him by God himself.
Yeah, that's his God-given name.
Dude, that's
Thank
like
you.
fucking Christmas Carol people names. Great. Like the guy who sings the original "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch." You know his name?
No, please tell me.
No.
Thurl
Who is that?
Ravenscroft.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Thurl?
Thurl.
His name is Thurl?
Thurl. Thurl Ravenscroft.
Ravenscroft, in and of itself,
Great.
amazing.
But I don't know why Thurl
Amazing.
slaps.
Thurl does
I would
slap.
never name my child Thurl.
I'm naming my kid Thurl.
Absolutely never would. Thurl Johnson sounds awful.
My next child's name will be Thurl.
Like you have more
I have 3
right now.
presently.
I have 3 children
The
presently.
first,
all of them
the first
named...
one's name is Throckmorton.
No, you can't even say that with a serious. You can't even say it serious.
We really have to get through this story, dude. We have been talking about this for so long.
I know. I'm almost done. So we preserve the carols. They're no longer in oral tradition. Then the Puritans come along and they fucking hate them. So they ban Christmas and singing and dancing, because why not?
We did talk about this already.
Yeah, we
The
did.
Puritans
They did
canceling
ban carols,
Christmas.
though.
The
Yeah,
Puritans
they
fucking
did.
suck.
They definitely did. And then we get to what Zach was talking about, where one of the reasons that they banned caroling is because people were getting really out of hand with it. It turned into a lot of drunken peasants, like, banding together and knocking on rich people's doors and being like, give us the fucking piggy pudding, we're not leaving.
The serfdom getting rowdy.
This led to some landowners, like, banding together and hiring security teams during the winter and being like, listen, these peasants are gonna come. They're gonna start singing, and we need help.
They're going to demand our figgy pudding. The only thing that we have is tapioca. It will not sate them. We need your help.
All right, here's what you're
need
going to
your
do.
help.
I'm hiring you as a security team. As soon as the first note comes out of their fucking mouths, you beat them.
You beat the shit out of them. We are not giving them this
The
piggy
beatings
pudding.
will continue until morale improves.
Yeah. So it got so bad at one point that a minister in the 1700s described caroling as a gateway to rioting, fornication, and wantonness.
Yes.
And like,
Carol's
I
the
personally
OG,
say-
like, satanic panic. I love it.
dude, that's what I'm saying. If you've never fucked to Old Holy Night, you're missing out. Is what I'm saying. Like,
I can't say that I have, so I guess I haven't
Well-
started living yet.
fall on your knees, my man. It's time.
Not sure that
But-
I
and
like
here's-
you saying that to me.
Fall on your knees. I love that line. It's so good. Anyway, so then Christmas gets unbanned, and it's thanks to Prince Albert, because he's German, and he's just like, I love Christmas. I love Christmas trees. And he brought a lot of German practices back to England with him. And this is where you get my man Charles Dickens. He comes out and he's just like, we're going to revive this holiday. I'm going to write a Christmas carol. I'm going to start doing caroling. And a lot of people started following him by coming up with new books about carols, and also like coming up with new carols in general. And all of this being said, and I know this was long, is that I think carols are really cool because they're a whole host of traditions sort of coming together. And I think it's nice that it's not just about Christmas, because if you listen to them, a lot of them aren't even about Christmas. It's just about, like, being together in a group during really cold months and, like, wanting to have a good time.
And stealing the landlord's figgy pudding.
And,
Yep.
yeah, and stealing the landlord's figgy pudding.
'Cause
So
fuck
that was
them
really
landlords.
long.
Dude.
Yeah, fuck those landlords, steal their pudding. we are not leaving until we get some.
No, I love that. I love that.
That's
The whole
great.
history of caroling is fucking great. Like I knew the
Yeah.
riotous parts because that's just me. But no, that's really cool.
Well,
I love that.
Yeah,
Trust
I
Zach
knew
to
a
know
little
the
bit about the
riotous parts.
rioting,
Absolutely.
but I didn't know about I knew that the Puritans had banned Christmas, but I didn't know that they were so against music.
Oh, the Puritans were against everything.
The Puritans exist to be against everything.
Zach, can we name this episode "Fall on Your Knees"?
I'll put it on the list.
I'll put it on the list.
Speaking of lists and checking them twice, I'm going to take it
Go,
from
go, go.
here. Well, folks, it is that time of year again when we all gather around our cozy fireplaces, drink eggnog, spread holiday cheer, and I personally get belligerently drunk and talk about how Christmas was stolen from the pagans, like Meghan so nicely mentioned. But I'm not here to be a Grinch. No, I will leave that to the people I am talking about this evening.
The Puritans?
No, not that. You see, let me get my robe adjusted, and my big large book that I am opening, blowing the dust off of. It only comes out once a
He's
year.
painting us a word picture.
A few days before Christmas, in a small town in Texas, a few crooks had a plan that might simply vex us. With sacks ready for gold and a plan to make mockery, let's talk of the tale of the Santa Claus robbery.
It was majestic.
The
Thank you.
Santa Claus robbery.
Yes, this is actually different than the story I thought about telling tonight. So it's
Yeah,
ooh.
Yeah, I was
expecting you to lead in for the story that you told us earlier, like the title, and I have no idea where you're going now.
Psych. This is a secret present for now.
This is a secret mousecatool we're gonna use right fucking now.
Yes. So rhymes and silly japes aside, I am going to be talking tonight to you, the lovely listeners at home, in front of your warm hearths, about the Santa Claus bank robbery. Our tale begins in Cisco, Texas, a small town right smack dab in the middle of the big old state. It's a quiet Friday evening, or rather afternoon, on December 23rd. Yes, I did look up, it is a Friday. I did look it up, the exact day of the week. You're welcome.
That's dedication to the craft, folks.
None other than jolly St. Nicholas himself walks through the doors of the First National Bank of Cisco. And considering the time of year, it's not much of a surprise or a startle to see the jolly fat man come on through the doors. It is a surprise when three other men, along with Mr. Claus, remove pistols from their belts and tell the cashier to open the safe. Let's pause for a second, because as I'm sure you
Open
have
it.
guessed... What?
Open the safe.
Open the safe. Do it now.
Open
But
it.
we're going to pause because, as you have guessed, this is not actually Père Noël.
It's not Santa?
It's not the real
This
Santa.
is-
The real Santa doesn't have a gun. He's a god.
That's fair.
Holy shit.
It's fair.
This whole
It's fair.
time.
Hot take, Santa is God. Is a god.
Is
not
a god,
You know,
not
Is a
he's
god.
not the Christian god. He is a god. He is absolutely omnipotent and can be in everywhere all at the same time. He's a god.
Christian Jesus? Catholic
Anyway.
Jesus?
We're getting off track.
We are
already.
for sure.
But this was not the real Santa, nor a small Santa, like the ones that work for the real Santa.
Like Billy Bob Thornton.
So, no, not like Billy Bob Thornton. This one actually might be like Billy Bob Thornton. So we're going to rewind a little bit, like they do in all the heist movies, and get a little background.
I love background.
Marshall Ratliff,
That's a
Henry
terrible
Helms, awful name. It's got rat in the name. He's a fucking robber. I think it's great, but awful.
name. Yeah.
Marshall Ratliff, Henry Helms, Robert Hill, and Lewis Davis planned to rob the bank of the Cisco First National Bank a few days before December the 23rd. Ratliff, who is the leader of this motley crew, literally just got paroled for bank robbery a couple days before.
Yo, my man's didn't
He's
learn.
sticking to what he knows.
He's good at one thing and he's just going to keep doing it. So he gets paroled a couple days before, and he's like, want to know what I'm going to do? I'm going to rob another bank. But he also knows that if he steps even a foot inside of Cisco, he's immediately going to be arrested for parole violation. And everyone in Cisco knows who he is. Doesn't help. This paired with the fact that at the time, Texas Bankers Association was offering a $5,000 reward for anyone who shot a bank robber at the time of the crime.
Anyone. Any bank robber. Anyone who you perceive. How do they know that they're a bank robber?
If they're asking for money, you know they're a bank robber.
Shoot him.
But, okay, bear with me, though. Bear with me. What the advertisement sounds like is if you think someone is a bank robber,
yes,
just shoot them.
Welcome
Please
to Texas.
do not get any evidence. Like, if someone is coming out of a bank,
Meghan,
maybe they're a bank robber.
Meghan, you can see evidence of this still perpetuated today with their current abortion rules, where it's like,
right.
If you suspect a person of having an abortion, report them to the police and you'll get $10,000.
I know. I'd start, you know who I'm going to start reporting because mama needs money? I'm going to start reporting senators' wives.
That'd be great.
I love
I'm
it.
going to be like, Mitch McConnell's wife, who I think is a Taiwanese American lady, I'm going to be like, I think she got an abortion. And I'm going to be like, my direct deposit account number is right here.
This is the account you can send the money to.
Yeah, my PayPal information is, I'll just like slip them a note.
Anyway, basically Ratliff comes up with this plan after being like, hi, I'm uneasy about stepping foot inside of Cisco, but I want that money.
Amen, brother. Me too.
Rise and grind. You know how it is. So
yeah.
He comes up with a plan to dress like Santa, and no one will recognize him. He can walk right in, demand the money, and be back in time for milk and cookies. And the funny thing is, this absolutely works. No questions asked. He is not only unrecognizable as he walks the streets of Cisco, Texas, on the 23rd, but he even stops to say hello to a group of children who are like, Santa, Santa, Santa. And he asks them all what they want for Christmas. And he just plays Santa Claus for like 20 minutes before he goes to the bank.
Yo,
this is amazing.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
And the fact that he stops and talks to all these children is a wonderful Christmas miracle for a paroled felon. But also might not be a great thing later on. ...
I don't know. The kids are getting what they want. He's getting what he wants. The bank isn't getting what they want.
Yeah.
This is working out for everyone except the bank.
I see no problem with this so far.
I see no problem with this.
But let's get back to the robbery, because important things are about to happen. So Santa and his cohorts pull their pistols from their belts and demand the money. The men cover the employees and the patrons, while Ratliff, himself dressed as Santa, fills a sack with money and bonds. But hey, remember how I said that some children were asking Santa for gifts?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, one little girl by the name of Frances Blassingame.
Whoa.
These are some bangers.
Some bangers. By the name of Frances Blassingame did not get a chance to tell Santa what she wanted for Christmas. So, the child Blassingame and her mother walk into the bank to see if they can catch the big man, and oops, it's all robbery. So, the child and her mother sprint out of the building because they're like, this isn't the real Santa. He smells like beef and cheese.
You don't know if the real Santa might smell like beef and cheese.
But anyway, so they immediately run out of the bank and immediately run to get the cops because it's a robbery. And yeah, so they run out of the building and they get the cops because it's a robbery. And in no time, the police are at every exit of the bank. And now here's where things get a little bit muddy in the telling of this tale, because as things do in these situations, bullets begin flying. Because naturally, it's a robbery and things have gone south.
I often want to get into shootouts with Santa.
Well, here's the thing. Some say that Santa fired the first shot. Others say that wasn't...
Some say
Others say the police did it. Either way, I don't think it's really in the holiday spirit to pin the blame on Santa for the first shot, so I'm not going to do that this time. We'll keep it ambiguous.
Evidence will say, we know.
This is 1927. There is no evidence of anything.
Yeah, you're right. What?
So,
John, it was the Sluggins gang.
Whoever fired the first shot, it doesn't matter because bullets begin to fly, and I mean really fly. Because remember how I said that the Texas Bankers Association was offering bounties for anyone who shot robbers?
Yes.
Well, many an ordinary citizen, in the spirit of giving, begin to rain holy hellfire on the crew in the bank, along with the police. Woo!
Oh my god.
So even with that said, the 4 men get away. One of them does get wounded and will later die because of his injuries, like a couple days later. But they initially escape, and they escape down an alley and get into a getaway car, and then a second getaway car, and then back to the first getaway car. It's a whole thing, but not really that important.
A lot of
getaway vehicles here.
Getaway
Yeah,
cars,
right?
You know?
But they make it away with $12,400 in cash and $150,000 in non-negotiable bonds, which in total in today's money is about $2,812,855.66. Not a bad haul.
A lot of effort. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, but between 4 people, everyone's getting like over $500,000. That's not bad.
That's a good amount of money.
It's not bad, I guess. It's a good haul for an honest day's work.
For an honest day's work. Now, in total, there were approximately, or rather estimated, 200 bullet holes in the bank, which everyone agreed was a figure that was impossibly low.
Does seem like a low amount of bullets.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's a high amount of bullets?
Probably thousands.
I would guess somewhere between 700 and 800.
Yeah.
Anyway, so 200 bullet holes, 1 injured robber who later dies, 2 injured cops who both live, and 6 injured citizens. However, no one knows exactly who shot who. And while the men do get away initially, they are eventually apprehended on December 30th in Graham, Texas, after the largest manhunt in Texas history. So, that is the story of the Santa Claus robbery, where 4 guys, 3 of them and 1 man dressed up as Santa, decided to hold up a bank for almost $3 million.
Yes. That's great news.
It was wild. Like, I looked up, like, famous crimes that happened on Christmas, and I started reading this, and I was like, oh, okay.
I think
okay.
I like the idea that the children were like, hey, do you got a minute?
Yeah, right?
Can you hear about our gift requirements? And this guy was like, I mean, I got a bank to rob. I'm a little bit on a schedule, but yeah, no, I'll hear it.
But for the
definitely
kids,
have time.
I'll make time for the
I have
kids.
time.
I'll make time for the kids.
But I think that's like the funniest part, because it is like a small, sweet gesture that somehow kind of comes to bite him in the butt.
Yeah.
But
Because
either
it not
way,
been for that one girl that was like, wait, we just missed Santa?
Yeah, right?
He probably would have gotten away with it.
I think the bigger problem was the fact that, at least a half a dozen citizens decided, well, what if I also shot?
Yeah.
But hey, I love money.
I love
And
money.
anyone in a bank could be a bank robber.
As an American in Texas, I love 2 things. Guns
Two
and
things.
money.
Guns, money, 3 things, Zach.
Yeah.
And street justice.
Guns, money, and God?
No, street justice.
Okay, fair enough. Either way,
Hey, so I'm going to tell my story now,
yes.
if that's cool. So
That's
that we
cool.
don't keep listing things that Texans are in love with. Like
Fair.
guns, money, street justice, and abortions.
They don't love that that 4th one.
No, historically they don't. Here I am stepping back into my Christmas long johns as the podcast dad to tell you another war story. However, I've already told you a popular story from World War I, if I remember my history correctly. So this time I've decided to do a Revolutionary War story involving the most American that's ever Americaned. That's right, friends. I'm telling a
Hulk
story
Hogan.
about Chuck Norris.
Oh, shit.
I'm just kidding. That was a joke for our millennial audience members.
This is so out of character for you
What's out of character?
to tell a story not about war.
I'm telling a story about war.
Yeah, but you originally said Chuck Norris.
I did say
so
Chuck Norris.
I guess that man is war upon the earth by himself.
Yeah. At least that's what all the jokes from my high school age times told me. I'm
tell
having
it to
a
me.
stroke. Please call the police.
Don't have a stroke, Norris.
Yeah,
That was bad. I'm giving myself
no,
a strike.
it's bad. Most American folks are aware of the picture of George Washington standing at the front of a ship with a flag waving behind him and looking like a Budweiser brand Real American Hero.
Real American.
Real American Hero.
Oh, jeez.
Hell yeah.
I'm telling a story about George Washington and that trip that he took across a little river.
That little
That
river.
little tiny river that he went on a trip across. As heroic as the picture is, the reality wasn't nearly as glamorous. So I'm here, not only as the podcast dad, but as a shatterer of all illusions. It's the year of our Lord, 1776, and the location is Trenton, New Jersey, which is at present occupied by 1,500 Hessians, which were German soldiers that had been hired by England to fight in their war. So, Germany has been the bad guy for a lot longer than we thought. I don't want to spoil the surprise, but we'll say that it's in the winter, and George Washington is looking at a long winter with dwindling supplies and even lower morale.
Yeah.
The
winter equals low morale.
Winter
all the time.
Yeah, this was a time before seasonal depression was like a known thing, so it was just called low morale.
I'm gonna start calling it that from now on. I'll be like, man,
I'm entering my period of low morale.
it's getting dark so early. Morale
is so low. The troops have not rallied to the cause.
And by troops, I mean
I just
the
mean
serotonin. I just mean me.
So most American soldiers are choosing to desert instead of continuing to wage war with the aforementioned dwindling supplies and low morale. So Washington sees this. He's like, wow, we're losing a lot of soldiers. We desperately need a win. And he devises a plan to cross a little river called the Delaware River and attack the Hessian forces that are in Trenton, New Jersey.
Gross. That's why they had such low morale. They were in New Jersey.
I wish he was still around to attack New Jersey again, but he is not.
New Jersey really hasn't done anything to me personally. It's just
except giving us the Jersey Shore people.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess Bridgegate.
Yeah, fair. So
trash.
Huh?
I don't know. They're filled with trash, but I guess that's New York's trash.
Yeah. I was just reading a thing on the internet that was like, if the United States was a scratch and sniff sticker, what would your state smell like? And someone was like, I'm from New Jersey and I don't want to play this game. So, anyways.
Okay, I know that this is a little bit of a sideways, but what do you think Massachusetts would be?
Dunk's Coffee.
I feel like I don't have a
It's Dunk's Coffee and also just toxic fumes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's true. It's Dunk's Coffee and then whatever the Sumner Tunnel smells like.
Oh, and a little bit of molasses.
And a little bit of molasses for flavor.
Just a
and
touch.
I'm fairly certain that New Hampshire would smell like clam chowder.
And pine needles.
And pine needles.
Why clam chowder?
Why not?
I think it would smell like sewage, pine needles,
And clam chowder.
rotting. I guess. Yeah.
I gotta agree with the clam chowder for some reason.
I honestly think that like it's either Maine or New Hampshire that smells like clam chowder, but it is one of.
Okay, it's Maine. It's
Fair,
Maine.
fine. No, Maine
okay.
would smell more like lobster than it does like clam chowder.
We're getting way off track,
We
Matt.
so
Please tell us
are.
how we crossed the fucking Delaware.
So,
Get us across the Delaware, please.
he and 2,400 soldiers, along with some artillery and horses, all got together and went across the river. And so the depiction of him going across the river has a bunch of boats in the background, and those are, of course, accurate. He went across the river, but as I mentioned, people had been deserting, and spycraft was still alive and well way back then. And so the Hessians were aware that an attack was coming, but they didn't know exactly when it was going to happen. And so this is what ends up happening that de-glamorizes this picture that was drawn of George Washington. First of all, it starts raining when they're like halfway across the river. And so this picture of him just going across the river looking heroic as shit is not accurate because it was a rainy day and he was probably suffering from low morale or seasonal depression. But so the weather wasn't really great. What ends up happening in the town of Trenton is that a number of false alarms have already happened by the time that George Washington makes it to the other side of the Delaware River. So, they've been preparing for this attack, and so they're on edge. And then a number of people have already started, shooting wildly into the woods because they think that something's out there. Which means that by the time that Washington shows up with his troops, they're not sure if it's another false alarm or if it's actually Washington showing up with his troops. And so he attacks the town of Trenton. The weather's awful.
Yeah.
But he takes the place by storm, essentially. And the part of this story that I've been holding back is that he did it on Christmas Day. So,
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, you silly German bastards.
I think the best part of this is that he succeeds in this mission only because it's the boy who cried wolf.
Essentially, yeah. So when I was doing research about this topic as well, he was supposed to be. There were 3 other efforts that were supposed to be happening at the same time. There were other parties that were supposed to be going across the Delaware, and they were all supposed to surround the town. And his was the only one that made it, or the only one that was successful.
Okay.
And he had support on the other side of the river at, another general or something was waiting at the other side of town for him to start attacking so that they could then start attacking. But, I was really blown away by the fact that the boy who cried wolfed his way into a successful battle, winning a battle.
Sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it, even if you're George Washington.
And he had, by the next morning, by the 26th of December, they had taken over the town. And he got to go into the new year with a win. And a lot of people credit...
With a win.
A lot of people credit that
W.
as a turning of the tide in the Revolutionary War. And so naturally the story has kind of been blown a little bit out of proportion, but...
like most things in American history, we have succeeded with sheer dumb luck.
Sheer dumb luck. But yeah, that's the story about how George Washington went across the Delaware River on Christmas and fucked up some Germans.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm just so glad that he entered the new year with a big W on his side.
Yeah, for sure. It's important.
Yeah.
Maybe that really helped the low morale.
Maybe.
I'm not saying that having George Washington win a battle is the cure for seasonal depression, but We've all just been getting
No.
worse since, so.
I was gonna say there's no George Washington to win battles for us anymore. I see a correlation here.
Yeah.
Listen, it probably. Do you think he got as much seasonal depression?
Things
like,
have just been going downhill.
in Virginia as he did, like, as people in Massachusetts, where it's 9 p.m. at 3 p.m.
I
now?
have to imagine that it being 9 p.m. at 3 p.m. fucks anyone up.
I know it messes me up.
Well, George Washington didn't have to deal with that. I assume he didn't even know where Massachusetts was.
I have a feeling that he didn't.
Washington.
Washington. Where the fuck is Massachusetts?
You know the video I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 1,000%.
I, for no logical reason, got nightmares from having watched that video. Like, I watched it once in high school, and then, like, that night, I think it was probably a fever dream or something, but I did have, like, a nightmare of a giant George Washington just terrorizing my dreams. And I was like...
My sleep paralysis demon was
George Washington. Was a drawn George Washington that was just, like, a giant, and... I was like, I don't know what happened to me, but this should not have been my demon to fight. But anyways,
Giant George Washington is not your demon to fight.
it shouldn't have been at that point in
Kaiju
time.
George Washington.
Who are you leaving it to?
I was leaving it to
Chuck Norris.
far greater minds than mine. Chuck Norris would have been the obvious choice,
Yes.
as he so often is.
Defender of this great nation, Chuck Norris. Well, anyway, I appreciate you wrapping us up there, Matt.
Yeah, no problem.
And I appreciate all you, well, not only we appreciate all you folks at home listening to our wonderful holiday episode this year. Pardon our stumbling blocks as we kind of get reused to recording.
Yeah, no, we weren't. I wasn't joking earlier when I said it's been a while. I think Zach and I did the math before the episode, and it's probably been a good 2 to 3 months since we've recorded like a live podcast episode.
It's been a while.
That's true.
But we appreciate you folks.
It's been a while.
You made the joke. I didn't have to.
Yeah.
We appreciate you folks listening in to our holiday episode. Whether you are waiting for the 25th of December to celebrate Christmas, you're waiting for the 21st of December to start your Yule celebration, whether you're waiting until the 18th of December to enjoy the beginning of your Hanukkah, or the 26th to enjoy your Kwanzaa, we appreciate you celebrating with us. And if you would give us a wonderful gift this year, we'd appreciate it. And that wonderful gift is just telling a friend about us. It helps us grow. You can also give us a rating and reviewing on Apple Podcasts. That helps us kind of go up the ranks and get a little bit more visibility without you having to give word of mouth. And also give us a follow on our socials. On Instagram, you can find us at _triumvirate_productions, and also on our Patreon at patreon.com/triumvirateproductions. You can be like our really cool friends, Sherry and Alexander, who are our new Patreons on there. But yeah, we'd really appreciate if you did that. And now, Matt and Meghan, this is a little bit different, and I'd like to just take a moment, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I've been a really good boy.
Okay.
I'm on the nice list.
Uh-huh.
And
You're saying things here.
I've been a really good boy this episode.
Yeah.
So I would like permission to speak freely.
I'll allow it.
Granted. Yes, granted.
Okay, cool. Here's what I'm going to do.
Zach, that was an uncomfortable amount of swearing.
Yeah, well,
I say that as, like, I used to work with truckers, and that...
Do you think...
Zach, as the daughter of 2 truckers, that was impressive.
Thank you. I like the impressive part better. Do you think I'm still on the nice list?
I think it's too late for Santa to...
You're on
You're
A-list.
definitely on A list.
Oh, we knew that already.
Especially for that part in the middle.
Yeah, well,
All right, guys. Since I've done nothing or sworn no oaths of non-swearing for this episode, I'm gonna close us out with the normal closeout here. But I will also echo Zach's sentiments that we are happy you join us. Please continue to join us. Please continue to share us with your friends, family, small children, at your own risk. But yeah, here we are. And I have but one more question, which is, what the fuck, history?